Hi, welcome to this video today, which is on the 16th of December. It's Sunday. We're just going to be looking at what we consider to be a really good risk to reward trade setup shaping up in the market. If it comes to fruition, it offers outstanding risk to reward in our view. Of course, it's got to come to fruition, but I'll go through that when we come to the charts. Now, the pair we're going to look at today is USD trying with the US dollar against the Turkish lira, a more minor pair. But most traders will have it on their platform. Now, in terms of this pair, I think it's got the potential to move 10 or 20%. That's even without leverage. Now, in terms of this pair, it can be very fast moving, really offer great trends. The moment it's very quiet, okay? Now, in terms of the technical setup, it looks really interesting to us, but it looks even more interesting when you look at the big players and how they're positioned behind the chart, and also the sentiment towards the pair, which I'll also cover when I discuss the technicals. Now, what we are going to do is go and look at the trade setup. So just go and look at the charts, but please do keep in mind it is my view as of this moment in time. It can change in line with the market conditions. If you want all our trading techniques and our daily technical and sentiment analysis of 14 Forex pairs, you can click on the link beneath this video, get live access to our member center. Right, we're going to take a look at the weekly chart very quickly and then go to the daily chart.
On the chart of the USD Turkish lira, and in terms of this pair, down here, just towards the left of the chart, you see trading very quietly. Then the dollar starts to trend up. Now this is actually quite a volatile pair, even here. But of course, up here, you get that big skew as you get big blue and a red. That's the 25% move. You have a currency crisis. Sure, you read about it in the news. Donald Trump put tariffs on Turkey, had a little bit of a row with President Erdogan. That's now resolved, okay, to a degree. And yeah, you had another push up in the dollar there. Central Bank of Turkey come in and raise interest rates to a really high level and basically stabilize the lira. So the lira pushes the dollar back down. But this raising of rates has caused a real problem. It's only a temporary fix. Now the dollar has found support there on 2 weekly candles and really on 4 bodies there. Okay, I'll draw my exact levels of entry, stop and target when we get to the daily chart. Key level now for us is 550. Okay, so if I draw a trajectory in, sorry, I haven't got that quite straight. There we go. I could draw straight in. I won't put too many lines on, but 550, if we go through that level, I personally think the US dollar will follow through to at least the 6 level, possibly even higher. Now, in terms of the technicals, they need to be seen in context of how, I said it earlier, how the big players are positioned and why they're positioned the way they are, which leads us to believe that the US dollar is going to surge higher. So let's go to the daily chart and discuss this in more detail and draw some levels of entry, stop and target. Right, on the chart of the USD Tri daily, and in terms of this pair for any members, I'm going to put this in the guest pairs section next week, so I think it's worth watching, as I said earlier on. Now, in terms of the technicals, we'll go through those in a moment, but it's important to know what's going on behind the chart in terms of what's going on in Turkey and how big money is positioned, okay? Now, let's look at what's going on in Turkey. Turkey's gross domestic product, GDP, grew by only 1.6% in the third quarter. Now, when I say only, a lot of nations will be pleased with that. Look at Eurozone. They only grew by 0.6%. But for Turkey, that's disastrous. An economic growth rate of 5 to 6%, I put is considered normal. Should have put was considered normal until recently. Okay, it's now only 1.6%. That's seen as a recession. Just to give you an idea how quickly the economy has slowed up. Before this 1.6% figure, the quarter before was 5.7, and the quarter before that 6.2. So a massive contraction. It's going to get worse. Look at inflation, 21%. ECB are frustrated they can't get inflation, up and above 2%. Turkey's got the opposite problem. only Argentina's got higher inflation, maybe Venezuela, but it's bad, okay? Interest rates had to be hiked to 24% to contain the inflation. Now, when you've got inflation of 21%, interest rates of 24%, the economy is going to contract further. Moody's have said probably by -2% next year. That's kind of generous. It could be even more. Now, there's no easy way out for Turkey because the boom years were fueled by foreign money debt. Okay, and debt reached nearly 50% of GDP at its height. It's massive. That debt's got to be paid back. And also, there is not big money flowing into Turkish businesses anymore. Banks are in trouble. Ratings agencies are saying there could be defaults. Okay. Then what we got is point number 5. President Erdogan, very much a strongman leader. I'm sure most people know that. He's a wild card. You never know what he's going to do. Okay, and sometimes he can do rash things, like he did pick a row with Donald Trump, another strongman leader, and he managed to basically spike the dollar against the lira. They kind of made a sort of peace for the time being, but I don't think that's going to last for various reasons, which I won't go into here. But he's always picking rows, okay? So he picked one with Angela Merkel, for example. The important point to keep in mind is you just don't know what he's going to do. He doesn't like interest rates at 24%. He calls them the mother of all evils. Could he lean on the central bank to reduce them? If he did, that's disaster for the lira. Okay, there's another point actually which I forgot to write down, just stock market weakness. Stock markets are weak. If they really start to sell off hard, then all emerging market currencies will go down, and the lira is one of the most vulnerable because investors draw their money out of the kind of risk currencies, the emerging currencies, and put them in safer currencies like the USD. Now, in terms of this interest rate, it was kind of a positive and a minus, really, for the lira in terms of this chart. Obviously, after this big move up and the second attempt, interest rates got up to 24% to stabilize the lira. And basically, institutions pile into carry trades. They want to get the interest rate differential, okay, against the USD rate, which is obviously far less, and they push the dollar down. And I'd like to keep an eye on the 20-day moving average in a strong trend. Breaks it, comes back to test it, fails. 5 touches, fails. This is the sign of a strong trend when the 20 is always holding. Nearly gets there, holds. 4 touches, holds. 1 touch, holds. And then we go down. All the time, the volatility is getting less. That, I think, is carry trades drying up. Then we get down to here. Dollar stabilizes, and a big blue comes through the 20. Now, that is actually a big move. This chart is totally skewed by these big candles over here, which were pretty dramatic. Okay, so big move through the 20, and now we're finding support on that. Okay, so normally after a big trend down, if we're bullish, we want the 20 to give way and then that to provide support, which I think it could well do now. So in terms of beneath, there you go, kind of lines up with the 20. 1 candle, 2, 3, 4, the punch through, support, 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 support. Okay, I could draw a trajectory, and we probably don't need one, but draw one in just to show the sort of volatility dropping. Okay, so you can cross 2 lines and a 20, and then you're sitting above it. Okay, now in terms of carry trades, yeah, I think they're all in the market now. Now, are things going to get better for the Turkish lira, for more to come in or the ones to stay in? I don't think so. Yeah, I just think it's vulnerable to a breakdown of the carry trade. And, you know, a lot of money is sitting short the dollar with things not good in Turkey, with a little bit of risk off around and so forth. And, yeah, carry trades had a good run. I think they could come out. Now, in terms of the key level, we saw it on the weekly chart, 550. Now, if that level breaks away, you could come in possibly earlier if you want. I've got an early trade in, a small one already. But that is the key level. If that breaks, the carry trade, I think, will liquidate en masse. And the first stop will be here. We've got quite a bit of support at 6, or resistance at 6 now. Which comes through here, should push up to 6. And you want to keep your eye on the stock market in terms of this one as well. You have to see how it goes, but I actually think we could get back up towards the 650 level. And obviously that's longer term. We've got to see how things go. But I'd be aiming for 6 if we break out, yeah? But even if we get to 6, what's that? That's probably a 10% odd rise, isn't it? If I've done my maths right. And then obviously more to the second target. And that's without leverage. You know, just a little small position in this pair, I think, could be a good one. I mean, the real key is if we can break higher and higher volatility, then we'll be off to the upside, okay? Of course, if she breaks down, then the trade is negated. You're going to miss it, okay? This is a potential setup that could come to fruition, okay? I'm just, you know, kind of really interested in this setup. And, you know, traditionally with the lira, over the years, when it gets moving into a trend, well, you can see it in the downtrend and big move up, it really does move, okay? So I kind of like the look of it. I think it's one to keep your eye on. Obviously, we'll see what happens in the stock market as well, because I think that could be the trigger possibly for the liquidation of what is a massive carry trade short. We shall see, but that is the video for today. Thank you very much for watching me as usual. Take care. Have a good day.